sexuality in relationships, there's only approximately 10% of your relationship is actual sex. And the majority of it is intimacy and what you can share with that other person.
No, I've had a relationship with a disabled man, and the physical sexual stuff isn't there as much, you know, because we both can't get out of our wheelchairs or reach each other. You know, there's not a lot that you can do physically, but it was still very strong emotionally and very intimate feeling-wise, more than just a friend. So it was definitely a relationship, but it was more of a platonic sexual relationship.
I think, like, when I go up to a girl, I say hi, my name, and all that, and get to know them instead of jumping right into a relationship. And you have to get to know the person and then start dating.
I say that you have the right to say no and take control. That's what I say of the whole thing. Find the right person, all that, get used to the person you'll have a relationship with.
I think in closing for me, it seems that the issue has to be that we have to assume some responsibilities for ourselves as well. And we can't expect that somebody else is going to solve that responsibility problem for us. So, you know, while our parents are anxious about it, while the concerns are there, we as individuals also have to know that this is a very important kind of part of our life or an issue, and that there are responsibilities that go along with it. And there's a lot of concern out there with various diseases and various concerns about AIDS and other kinds of vulnerabilities associated with health, and that person has to understand that as well and do what they can to safeguard themselves in the sense of making choices that are pretty intelligent with regards to partners and sexual activities.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Now we're just going to have a brief discussion about some topics that were brought up in the video and some issues that we hear people talking about daily that are some concerns for people. One of the first things that Pam and I are going to talk a little bit about is the myth that people with disabilities are asexual. At Great Rivers Independent Living Services, we'll hear people talking about, you know, people with disabilities just don't have those feelings that, you know, that they're different that way. Do you hear that in the schools?
A lot.
Yeah.
Not from the students themselves, though. The students themselves say that they have those feelings, and they think it's unusual because nobody's told them that all teens or all young adults have those feelings. So you hear both sides.
Yeah. And I've heard, too, that, you know, kids without disabilities get the sexual education all the way along, and now I think kids with disabilities also are, because they're being more included in all classes, inclusion and everything. But parents also need to really remember to talk to their kids, whether they have a disability or not, about these issues, and make that an ongoing process, something that's not looked at as strange or odd to talk about.
I think parents of students with disabilities face the same problems that parents of all students face, and that there is a fear of bringing up the topic with their son or daughter, and because some of them aren't comfortable doing that.
Yes.
I noticed we have a sexuality curriculum throughout K-12 within our special education program for students who aren't able to participate in the sexuality units that are done through the health class.
Mm-hmm.
So they get it all the way through school, but if there's not a follow-through at home, a lot of questions go unanswered, and they talk among themselves, and sometimes they're afraid to bring it up with the teachers,
Yeah.
And they turn to their peers for answers that may not always be accurate.
Yeah. And that's typical of kids with and without disabilities.
Right.
I think people really need to remember that it's not something specific to disability, but sometimes people think if there's a disability, it's not going to be an issue.
That's right.
And it's not going to go away if it's ignored.
Right.
And I think people in general, and parents especially, really need to remember that.
That's right.
Yeah.
The other thing that stood out to me from the video was the issue of self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's very important with anything with a young adult growing up. Especially when you talk about sexuality and how it's presented to students. A lot of students with disabilities, their self-esteem isn't what it should be. They're very insecure. They're not really sure where to go. And what I hear from them is, I need to feel loved in my own way. I need to feel loved without a label. I need to have something of my own. And without the right education and follow through, both at school and at home, those comments are what I'm hearing from our young mothers now.
Yeah, and those are some real decisions, uneducated decisions a lot of times, unfortunately, that are being made, and it impacts the rest of their life along with the child they may have or whatever. Also, I think another issue is, with the not being well educated is that sometimes people with disabilities, because they want to be included in everything and feel loved, get taken advantage of. People play on that vulnerability and take advantage of the situation, and may look to them for some sexual activity just because they know that the person might be a little more vulnerable, and that's real sad.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I don't think parents know the extent that goes. I think for students with a disability, they are very vulnerable, and when they're approached in the area of their own sexuality, because of the insecurity too, they don't know which way to turn, and they're going to go with, up front, who's giving me the most attention, and I'm going to do anything to please them.
And it makes them feel beautiful, pretty, whatever, as the title of the video implies.
Yeah. It makes them
really
feel like they don't have a disability.
Yeah. Yep, and that's what a lot of people are looking for.
Right.
Any other main issues that jumped out at you? Just trying to think.
Not too many. The focus of the curriculum within the schools at this point does focus on self-esteem and the issues of sexuality, and it starts through the elementary years working just on self-esteem and the vulnerability and how you can be taken advantage of. Once they're in middle school and high school, it gets into more of the particulars of your own sexuality and understanding what's going on with your body and changes that occur, as well as relationships and how do you have a good relationship and what makes that up. And I think the way the curriculum is set up, it seems very appropriate. I just think there's still some things missing, and that's again going back to we need to follow up at home as well.
There are videos out there, there's books, there is information out there, and I think sometimes that is a good backup also to the schools, to what the parents talk about. The kids may be embarrassed, or young adults may be embarrassed by some of it when, they're being talked to by people in authority figure or whatever, and so I think it's sometimes good to just, give that to them so they can look at it at their own leisure, think about it maybe, and then definitely keep it open to questions. So, especially with parents, be very open to questions and real honest about it.
I know the staff is always very willing to give parents whatever information they may need, but sometimes I don't know that parents know that that's okay to ask for that as well, or don't understand where to go with it. So anything we can do to help, I think, is beneficial.
Yeah. I guess if anyone has any information they would like to get if you know, even if you don't know it's out there. My agency, Great Rivers Independent Living Services, our phone number is 608-787-1111. We have access to lots of different information, whether in video form, book form, and can look if there's something we don't have but think it might be out there. Please feel free to contact us at any time, and we can help you with this.
And the same from my end. I'm housed at Hogan Administration Center. My number is 608-789-7622, and I can get you any information that anyone would be interested in obtaining. If you want to even see the materials that are being used within the school district, I'd be more than happy to get you whatever you need. So don't be afraid to call.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching New Ways, New Days. This program is brought to you by Cooperative Educational Service Agencies number 4 and 7, Wisconsin Family Assistance Center for Education Training Systems, and the School District of La Crosse Media Center, along with your local cable provider. For more information or to offer comments,